Coming up in this episode of Behind the Sound.
And now you've won Indigenous Artist of the Year for the Junos, and you're up for a Juno again, depending on when this drops.
But,
for
know.
2? Oh, no big deal. Excuse me.
It's going down, people gather around. Grab a mic, let's rap, it's behind the sound. It's going down, people gather around. Grab a mic, let's rap, it's behind the sound.
I don't wanna hurt you. I don't wanna make you sad. Don't you wanna let me save you from all that, and just let me lie to you, and just let me lie. Just like you want me to, and just let me lie to you. When I'm lying in your arms, holding secrets I can't share. Would you believe me if I say I'm quiet 'cause I care? Oh, I care. And just let me lie to you, and just let me lie to you, and just like you want me to, and just let me lie to you. Maybe you want to believe I'm everything that you need, but you're lying to yourself, and I'm not the only one to blame. I know it's not the same. You don't ask what you don't want to know.
Yeah, I wanna tell you the truth. I know me though, this ain't for me, this for you. Pinocchio, the closer we get, the harder it gets for me to open up my heart so we can start up again. I never wanted to hurt you or take it this far. Still here we are, 2 stars in the constellation, light years apart in this king-size bed. Too far gone, I'm lying again.
Let me lie to you, and just let me lie to you, and just like you want me to, just let me lie to you.
Yeah. So good. So great. So great. That was awesome.
Thank you.
What is going on, people? Welcome to this episode of Behind the Sound. I am super, super pumped about this one. I got to see this next lovely artist perform in one of the most beautiful halls in the world at the Winspear Center. And when I tell you that her vocal filled this room like I have never heard before, that is no word of a lie. She is a WCMA award winner, a Juno award winner, the one and only Ms. Celeigh Cardinal.
Hi. Wow, what an introduction.
Did you like that? Was that good?
Yeah.
You can use that. We can clip it out,
Yeah.
use it for your pod.
It's good. I often people read my entire bio before I perform a show, and it's awful. So this was lovely. Thank you.
I appreciate
Yeah,
it. Well,
yeah.
you know, I want to infuse some of my personal experience with you. Not that we know each other personally, but, you know, getting the chance to see you perform at the Winspear was a big deal for me. And then to see you like rock that vocal in the booth, like just you and I, is just like what a wonderful way to experience it. So thank you for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah.
The Winspear is probably like one of the best like one of my most favorite performances in my entire life
Why?
because of the hall. Truly, like the venue was amazing. But first and foremost, because I had an entire orchestra behind me
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
playing my songs, 2 sets of my songs, 2 nights. So many people there. Like it was mind blowing.
2 nights back to back. How does that wear on your voice when you do something like that?
Well, actually, I was very sick when I did the shows.
Really?
So sick.
That's why you sounded so good.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I think I had COVID at the beginning of April, and then these shows were the 26th and 27th. So they were like near the end of the month, but I was dead. Like I was so sick I had to cancel showcases and other stuff that was happening in April. I canceled everything else so that I would be like good to go for these shows. I was doing rehab with my vocal coach. I was so nervous, but they were so moving. It was just like having an orchestra play songs that I wrote it like from a downtown apartment.
Yeah.
It was so special. It made me feel like I've done the thing that I wanted to do.
Yeah. I love that part. You know, stories from a downtown apartment. Let's jump in there since you said that. It sounds literally like you were living in a downtown apartment and you wrote about all of these stories. And what I loved personally about the Windspear performance, aside from your vocal in the band and the ESO backing you with your music, was that every piece you performed had a really great story. You were so good at that, you know? I think I love that as a package with what you do as an artist, because you have to be able to do that. People fall in love with stories, you know, not just music.
Yeah.
It's the stories. And I think the way you set each one up and knocked it down with the vocal was like absolutely incredible. So yeah, what tell me a little bit about Stories from a Downtown Apartment.
Yeah, I mean, I've always written songs that are like about my life. And I'm always worried that I'll say too much when I write a song. So sometimes I leave things out, and then that always ends up coming out in front of the entire audience as I'm introducing the song. So I'll always say that little bit too much. But I can't help but share. Both of my parents are really like extroverted. My dad's a car salesman. My mom has done sales, but they're both just like really charismatic people. And even though I have a lot of introvert in me, I feel like I channel them when I'm on stage. Like I'm pulling out the extrovert that they hold and that I've sort of watched. People love them. They love hearing their stories. They both tell stories all the time. Stories from a Downtown Apartment is truly that. I was just living downtown Edmonton, and I was writing songs about my life, falling in love, having my heart broken, songs about home or taking home with you wherever you go. Where I was at in my career was, you know, traveling a lot and leaving my son behind with my mom and missing him. It was, you know, there was grief, there was dreams changing. So it's all of that. It's just the human experience written into melodies, lyrics.
Yeah, and you're so good at that. And when you talk about traveling and being away from your son, you're doing music full time now. When was the transition between? Was there ever a transition, or how did that happen?
Yeah, so like when I had my son when I was 21, and I raised him on my own for his entire life till now, and I always had like jobs, regular day jobs. And then I always tried to do something with music, because if I wasn't doing music, I was unhappy. So I needed to be playing. At one point I moved back to Grand Prairie with my son, and I think I played in like 6 bands for a summer. It was pretty wild, but it was just like, I was just doing what I loved, and I continued to do that, but I wasn't doing it full time until 2016. And that was a few years after I moved back to Edmonton. And since then, when I was first in 2016, I was really grinding it out. Like I was running a couple of open stages a week. I was playing pub gigs on the weekends. I was playing my music whenever I could, but it was a lot of cover gigs. And since 2018. It's basically been like I'm playing my music in my shows and theaters and building that audience across Canada and wherever. So that's been, it sort of happens in stages.
And so for some of the other young artists there, first of all, I think, when you're playing in 6 bands in a summer, nothing gets you more seasoned than playing like that, right? So even when you're grinding it out on those kind of earlier moments, playing in all these different bands, getting in front of audiences, covers, and maybe trying out an original, but understanding the feel of an audience, you don't get that making YouTube videos in your bedroom. And I think that's part of what I feel like you're so seasoned on stage. How does it go from playing pub gigs to like the fucking Windspear? Like, how does that transition happen?
Well, for me, a big part of my like full on transition into like being able to play my own music was finding community. I didn't have community growing up. I was one of 2 Native families that went to my school. We were raised sort of in like a white Christian home community. My father, who is Cree, he was raised in foster care. So he was raised in white Christian homes. So I didn't find I didn't find culture. I didn't find community until I was older, and I found it myself. But in 2018, I attended an Indigenous music residency in Manitoba that introduced me to a bunch of musicians who looked like me, who, we didn't all sound the same. We all had different perspectives, but we shared a lot of experiences, like the colonized experience. Every single Indigenous person in Canada has been affected by residential schools and colonization. It's just, there's generational trauma, and we all share that experience. And it can feel very lonely if you don't have community and you don't find somewhere that you belong or can share those experiences. So that was really life-changing for me. Finding this community of other Indigenous artists really helped. It emboldened me, it empowered me, and it gave me people who could give me more resources or who had experience, and just some people who would just help me out, who would say my name to different festival directors, or it just changed everything for me. I didn't realize how lonely I was until that point. And I was 38 when I found this community. That's how long I had gone without finding people or finding a place where I felt like I belonged. So that was just incredibly life-changing, and it changed my career.
Wow. How did you find this? How did you find community?
So I was running an open stage in 2014, 2015 at a place called Sideliners, which was on 127th Street in Edmonton. And I had Jay Gilday come and be my
You
special.
pointed the right way. You knew
Yeah.
that was north. Good for you. Your direction is really
you.
good.
Hey.
Yeah, hey, I was impressive.
This is my land.
I just had to say that.
Thank you. I appreciate that. But I
Jay Gilday.
Jay Gilday,
yeah.
yes, thank you. You have
Incredible
to remember
voice.
those things for me because I will lose my train of thought.
I won't always help you, but I remember Jay Gilday because he was in he wrote this song about poverty in a My United Way voice contest years ago. That's when I first met him, and I just remember his deep voice, just so good. So that's why I remembered where you left off.
Yeah, he's incredible. He's so incredible. And I had him come and be my guest performer. So I ran an open stage. I would have someone from the community come and play a set. I would play a couple of songs, and then it was an open stage. And his sister, Leela, happened to be watching. I used to live stream it from my Facebook page at the time.
Nice.
2014.
Yeah,
what
baby.
a time.
Yeah.
And she saw me playing, and she was like, who is this person? How come I've never heard of her? I thought I knew every single Indigenous artist in Canada.
Yeah.
Because she's one of those people who has been doing it for her entire life. She's been doing it all over the world. And she's one of those people who finds people and brings them in. And it was her directly. She got me to come and play her wedding in Yellowknife. And then I met like different artists, like from a group called Quantum Tangle, Digging Roots. I met people who were like administrative people, Indigenous people who were working as, in the music industry. And it was directly her introducing me to everyone and then sending me opportunities. So it was this one person basically who changed my life and
Very cool.
brought me in. Yeah.
Very cool. Do you find that maybe finding community later, and it's not even really later in life, I think that's pre-midlife, but like at 38, finding community, does it help you walk the line now of being like in front of white people in Ireland performing in a versus within your own community? Do you find that it sort of opens up more boundaries for you?
I think I've always felt like I lived between worlds. And in that way, I was sort of walking between two worlds and able to navigate both. So I've always played for white audiences. And it's been lovely, like meeting, another generation of Indigenous artists who have people like Leela to look up to and, are kind of walking the path sort of that people are carving. And it feels like an amazing opportunity for me to try to be one of those people for others. I know other Indigenous artists that around Edmonton that like I can throw opportunities to or help in any way.
As a first generation Filipino, I'm always like, here in Canada, I'm Filipino when I'm asked, and in the Philippines, I'm Canadian. And it's like this whole, I've always been kind of in the middle, and I can assimilate well and on both sides, but probably feel more at home as a Filipino Canadian here than I do being welcomed as a Filipino in the Philippines. So that's just why I wanted to ask you about that.
I think it's very similar.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's very similar. It is a special place to be because you can bridge the gap between these communities and you can sort of stand between them and like share. But yeah, it's also a place that can feel lonely because there's only a certain amount of people that actually understand that existence.
Right, right. And now you've won Indigenous Artist of the Year for the Junos, and you're up for a Juno again, depending on when
for
this
two,
drops.
but, you
For
know.
two? Oh, no big deal. Excuse me. What are they?
Contemporary Indigenous Artist of the Year.
Okay.
And then Adult Contemporary Album of the Year.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That's so exciting. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Do you have a song that is either your favorite or perhaps like the most difficult to write?
Well, I mean, the last song on the album, Boundless Possibilities, is called The Only Way Out. And the recording that's on the album is actually a demo recording that I did on my phone. And I did it shortly after writing it. And then I was never able to sing the song all the way through again. So we had to use that demo recording.
Wow.
The song is about my son's father who died in 2020.
Yes, yeah.
And
Before you were about to drop that album in 2020.
that's right.
Yeah.
So yeah, the album was initially supposed to come out early 2020. It was going to be called Euphoria, and it was about that feeling. I get migraines, and when you come out of a migraine, you feel euphoric. You feel like this is the best I've ever felt.
Yeah.
And I wanted to sort of capture that amazing feeling. And then 2020 happened, and I was like, this is not my truth anymore. I can't write songs about this. I'm grieving. And so I had to sort of pivot, and I had to write songs that were meaningful and were the experience that I was having. But that also, like, that is the way I always do things, but that does mean that I'm sort of constantly reliving those experiences and the grief. So it's been a very interesting 5 years performing all of these songs.
Yeah.
But I've only ever actually performed that song, The Only Way Out, twice.
Because you can't get through it.
It's very hard for me to sing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What a tragic experience to go through, but also to come up with incredible music out of that, you know? What do you mean when you say you recorded that on your phone? Like the vocal is a voice memo?
Like the voice and the guitar,
Yeah.
I just sat and did a voice memo
Yeah.
on my phone in a bedroom in a cabin I was in.
No. And that's what you dropped on the album?
That's
That's
what's on
what we
the
hear
album.
as the final
That's
version?
it, because I just couldn't do it again.
That's so cool. Are there other instruments that were added in the studio after? It's just like
those
that?
two. Yeah,
Beautiful.
yeah. So it's very raw.
Yeah.
And performing it, I did perform it without crying too much for the album release parties in Edmonton and Calgary. And it did feel good to perform. And the song is to honor my son's father.
Yeah.
And to tell our story. And I did. And I'm glad I did it. He's somebody who deserves to be honored, or I want to be able to tell stories about him because he was a special person. So it gave me the opportunity to do that too.
Really cool. Tell me what Lie to Me is about. What's the story of Lie to Me that we just performed?
So I was a single lady for a lot of years. My last major relationship was in 2017 until now. And I wrote that song about my experiences on Tinder, basically.
Okay.
I call it my Tinder song.
We talked about a little Tinder experience off camera. You can get into that or not get into that if you want.
That one I won't get into. But yeah, I dated somebody for a little while, and I unfortunately wasn't that into it. And he wanted me to just try.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can for a little while, I guess. And then I went on tour, and by the time I got home, I was just like, no, I can't fake this.
Yeah.
Like, it's not going to happen. But I just know that if I would have just like pretended that I liked him, he would have been satisfied.
Good enough for him.
Yeah.
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 So so Let Me Lie to You
Yeah.
in the sense of that.
Yeah. He just wanted me to lie to him,
Right.
you know?
Right.
Yeah.
And now you're dating the drummer.
And now I'm dating my drummer.
How was that?
It's great. I think a lot of people are probably surprised by it.
Really? Why? Just because
because-
of the type of personalities,
Yeah,
or
I think it's our personalities. I mean, he's the youngest kid and I'm the oldest kid in our families. So, there's an interesting dynamic with that. I'm a little bit bossy and he's very sweet.
Yeah.
So I'm sure people are worried that I'm going to like steamroll over him.
But that's probably what kind of works also, I think, right? You can't have two bossy people.
No, that doesn't work. It can be fun, but it doesn't work. No, I think what's happening is he's making me feel safe, and he's making me give space, or he's giving me space to be more soft and sweet.
Less bossy.
Yeah, I've been doing this thing for so long, single momming, running a band, running my career, that it's like, I think it's hardened me a little bit. And I think this sweet, soft person is really good for me.
Good.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I'm glad for you. It sounds like you seem happy.
Yeah. I am.
Good. Yeah. So maybe there'll be some happy dating songs coming out of this.
Hopefully.
Instead of the more lie to me's.
Yeah, I think there are more happy songs coming. I already did 1 week of writing, and I felt the lightness of it, and I'm really looking forward to that, because when you're performing all the time and you're singing sad songs, it's not always that fun.
Right.
I want to sing happy songs. I want to feel these are the mantras of my life, my songs, because I'm just constantly repeating them. So I'm excited to write some happy, loving stuff.
That's cool.
Yeah.
When did you know, Caleigh, that you wanted to sing? I have a quote that I found from something of you that I just loved. You say, even when I was 19, I believed that one day I was going to win a Juno, because even though I suffered from low self-esteem, this gift of music is something that has always given me confidence and purpose.
Yeah.
I love that, and I think it was really nice to read and hear, and I was curious, with a voice like yours, you must know from a very young age that you're pretty good at this,
I started singing on stage when I was 4. I started in church. I had a deep love of singing. I loved the emotional connection of it. And I don't go to church anymore. I'm not religious anymore, but it still has that feeling for me of just like joy, or connecting to people, expression, letting your feelings out. It's so important. I think that I've always just wanted to give people I think for a long time I didn't feel like I had a lot of freedom. And as I've gotten older, I've definitely felt more and more liberated all the time. I think I was worried about what people thought of me. I was really shy. I was scared to be seen. I was assimilating constantly. So you don't want to step out when you're trying to like fit in with everybody.
For sure.
And I love the opportunity that I have to stand on stage and look like I do and make anybody who looks like me feel like they can do the same thing. I just want people to feel free to follow their fucking hearts, you know? Just like follow your heart. I want people to live the happiest possible life that they can. Life is short. It's hard. And I was never happy unless I was doing music. So I just knew that was the thing that I needed to do. I started writing songs when I was 11. And yeah, it just was the thing that made me feel free. And that's why I wanted to share it too.
What was the earliest experience that you can remember when you were on stage or performing for family or something like that, where you were like, holy shit, I love this? And were there people in your family or around you that were supportive, that key people that gave you that confidence to be like, hey, yeah, I can do this?
Well, my mom is definitely a stage mom. So like we would be at church and I would be singing a song, and like, let's say I was maybe 12, she would be at the back of the church going, put the mic up closer to you. Yeah.
It's just completely distracting you from,
Yeah, but she was proud, and I think she loved to sing too. She played bass in a country band for a little bit at the church.
Yeah.
And she's a great singer. And yeah, she always sort of cheered me on. She saw that I loved it. She saw that it made me happy. And so she was like, let's go.
Yeah. That's everything as a parent too, Once you see something light your child up, it lights you up, and you just want to support that.
Yeah.
Are both your parents still around? Okay, cool. Cool.
Yeah.
If you had to give, you've had this wonderful long career that continues to go, and if there were a couple of pieces of advice that you could give to musicians and artists coming up now that has helped you along the way, what do you think that might be?
You mentioned earlier, like sitting and playing on YouTube doesn't really give you the same kind of experience when you're standing on stage. Like, it doesn't give you the same kind of confidence to be on stage performing. I feel like the fact that I did grind it out for years has made me a better performer. I still don't have a manager or a booking agent. I do all of that myself. I have a publicist that I work with, but I think it's very important for artists to put in the work and the time themselves. At some point, I'm going to be ready for a booking agent. I'm actually getting to that point now where I'm like, it's too much.
Yeah.
But I wanted to be able to do it myself first. And I think it's really important that you learn everything that you're going to be delegating to other people so that you still are in control.
Yeah.
I don't want people's power to be taken away from them. And like, those jobs are collaborative. Without artists creating music, we wouldn't have the music industry at all. And so many people make money off of the artists. So you need to make sure that you're in charge of your career. I think that's really important.
What would you say is your favorite part of the entire process?
It's performing.
Yeah.
I love to sing. I love to stand on a stage. I love to tell my stories. I love that I can make people laugh and then also make people cry. I love that we feel our feelings together. I love the collective energy that happens. That's the happiest place for me.
Yeah, when you said earlier about, you love that emotional connection on stage, I think that's what is so good about your performance, is that connection. It's like, no matter what you say or how you say it, if you're not connected to that, if you're not feeling that, people know. You know, people know that it's not authentic, it's not you, and you know. And I think that there's such a disconnect when people and artists are thinking about, oh, what would this audience like? Or they're thinking about the audience first, and it's not coming from a place of authenticity in their own storytelling. You've recently come back from Ireland and you've traveled the world doing these shows. Is there a particular show or experience that stands out for you?
Oh man, like internationally?
Anything. Was there a moment that you were on stage or something, crazy happened, or something that just you really remember?
One time I was singing at this theater in Toronto, and apparently this had never happened before, but I was singing and I held a note, and then all of these like sparkles started coming down from the roof.
What?
Yeah, and it was just like, it was part of the ceiling.
Yeah.
But
you broke them free with your frequencies?
Yeah, something happened, and they just, all this sparkly stuff from the ceiling just started falling down. And it had never happened before, and I was asking people at the theater, like, what was that? And they were like, we have no idea. And it just, in that moment, there are little moments like that everywhere I go where it just, I'm reminded that, like, this is the thing that I'm supposed to be doing. These tiny little things that could be nothing, but I feel like I see them as magical. I see them as signs. And because I see them that way, it continues to make me feel confident in the path I'm going. It's kind of like we see what we want to see, It could be nothing, but I decided something. I like the idea of the people around me, because I am obviously, like, I'm a dreamer, and I am quick to believe in things, quick to believe in things, maybe to a fault.
Yeah.
But I'd rather like believe in something and feel hopeful and feel excited than be a pessimist or be a realist. There are times when realism is important, sure. But even I'm going to be, well, this hasn't come out yet, but I'll tell you this now, because when this comes out, it'll happen.
We're getting the sneak peek though still, yeah?
I'm playing the In Memoriam. I'm playing a song during the In Memoriam section of the Junos. So I'm going to have an opportunity to play a song while we pay tribute to the musicians who have passed, or people who in the music industry who have passed in the last year. I wrote a song in 2019 for that very reason.
Wow.
I decided to write this song called Light of the Moon that's a tribute to like musical idols or family, friends who've passed on. But like we remember them, we hold them. I hear them in like the music that I make. And I wrote this song because I wanted it to be performed. I wanted to perform this song during the In Memoriam section of the Junos. 5 years later, I'm doing it. I just believe in a person's ability to create their reality. I know that, it's not realistic all of the time, but if you set your intentions and your energy towards something, you will achieve it. And my co-writer and keyboard player, Brennan Cameron, is, I don't want to say he's a pessimist, but, he's an atheist, and he's very, science-minded, and he's very logical.
Yeah.
And I finally made him admit that he believes in the power of at least my manifestation.
Yeah.
And that's, I want people to dream. I want people to see the magic everywhere.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Yeah. When you say it out loud and you put the vibe out there, the universe has a way of sending that your way. It's pretty cool.
But it's also because once you put it out there, you're also like holding yourself accountable more, and you're chasing it.
That's right. You set yourself on the path.
It's like you can say something, and the universe, I think, will have your back, but it's also about the action that you choose. And so it's like, it's sort of a package deal, manifestation is part thought, but also part action.
And then creating those opportunities once you're set on that path as well.
Yeah.
It can't just, you don't just leave it to the universe for it to fall on your lap.
Yeah.
There's a few things have to work together.
Totally.
How young were you when you knew you were going to play at the Junos or win a Juno? When you manifested that?
I mean, I honestly thought, I think since I heard about the Junos, like
Yeah.
I knew they were the Canadian Grammys, and I was like, well, I guess that's something that I'm going to do
Yeah.
because this is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So I was probably in my teens. I was probably like 15, 16.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so what are you manifesting these days?
An acreage,
Yeah.
a little bit more peace and calm in my life.
Cool.
Life has
Not
been-
the downtown apartment anymore?
No, I currently live in a house now.
Yeah.
So I'm halfway there.
Yeah.
But I need a bit more. I need a bit more country, a little bit more space. I need a few more dogs. Yeah.
Is country a big influence? And you've got roots in soul music and like a lot of different genres within what
Yeah.
you do.
I mean, country music isn't really, it's not really too much of an influence for me, except for like great singers like Patsy Cline or Emmylou Harris. But I would say that I grew up on an acreage, and that was a big part of like being able to see the stars at night
Yeah.
and hearing coyotes howl
Yeah.
and just having space. I just want space.
You want to get back to that.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Good for you. This has been awesome, Caleigh. Thank you so much for being here and giving me the honor of sitting down and interviewing you and having this chat, but also rocking a verse on that song
Yeah.
was one of my favorite. I hope I did it justice.
Oh, yeah, it was great.
Okay, good. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. And it was one of my favorites to watch you perform at the Windspear. And then to see it like basically one-on-one, me and Caleigh one-on-one in the booth, knocking it out literally in the first take. We did 3 just for fun, but the first take was just golden. It's really cool to have you here. Congratulations. And I just can't wait to see what you manifest next, whether it's the acreage or the Grammys or wherever you're going to be. I know you're going to find success. And it's just really cool to see talent combined with the personality and the kindness and the storytelling that you have all wrapped into like this one person. So thank you for that.
That's so nice. Thank you.
Awesome. Peace. Cool.